All right, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 6 of Coffee with Curtis. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am joined by two wicked guests today. Two dudes that are absolutely killing it. I look at them as like the next it guys for Hollywood, Asian Hollywood, whatever you want to call it. Let me introduce you to them. My first guest, he's an actor, producer, writer, entrepreneur. You might know him as Ryan Choi in the DC universe. You might know him from Supernatural or his hit indie film, Empty by Design. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Osric Chau in the house. Say hello, Osric.
It's afternoon here, evening where you are, and morning for Chris. We have all three.
Wait. I haven't been introduced yet.
Oh,
dude.
you blew it.
Introduced yet.
Oh no, I blew it. I figured
People don't read the titles of podcasts before they click it.
Oh my God, podcasts don't have video.
YouTube.
And here I am looking at you guys thinking like, okay, sorry. Yeah, it's afternoon here, and I'm doing
totally
great.
ruined I had a reveal, like Curtis was going to reveal me and everything,
right,
and now
we got Chris Pang.
Way to steal my thunder.
We got
Osric.
Chris Pang.
Sorry.
I was in the hit release Empty by Design too.
He was also in the hit Empty by Design, Charlie's Angels.
Why was it a hit?
You were in this indie film, was it Crazy Rich, something? Crazy Rich.
Wait, why are you referring to why are you referring to Empty by Design as a hit? Are you giving us a little jab in the face?
It's a hit in my books, bro. What do you mean?
How is it a hit?
I mean, you toured every damn festival that I'm aware of. for what it was.
Yeah, Sundance was pretty fun.
You guys make money on that yet?
Lots of money.
Nope.
So much money. I mean, no.
Only too much. No, that was labor of love and I think for us education. So we're very happy with it.
You guys shot in one of my favorite places. Shout outs to the Philippines. That was that's one of my favorite places. Definitely brought me back. That must have been somewhat of bliss for you guys, minus the stress of actually shooting, but actually being in the Philippines with your best friends. That must have been dope, right?
Osric?
Yeah, I
Are you not answering because you don't want to acknowledge that we're friends? Is that why you're not answering the question?
No, my internet.
Oh, how come my internet's not working? My internet's not. Oh no.
Hold on.
Talk about working with your friends. These guys that you did a movie with. Oh no, my internet's not working. Osric, this is.
I was gonna. I
got a mug for you. I got a mug for you, internet. Osric, with this.
I mean, that was a question for both of us. Did Chris answer? I didn't hear it because I was lagging if he did. But if he didn't, Chris, I don't have a mug for you, unfortunately. All my mugs are very PG friendly.
Are not PG friendly?
No, they're all like G rated. Like I have one with a wolf on it.
Oh,
what do you mean? That's good. I mean, what are you trying to say? Why would he have
I just noticed the mug, bro. Cheers.
Yeah, I brought a mug. Isn't this? It's coffee with Curtis.
Yeah.
It's coffee with Curtis. I'm not drinking coffee because I don't drink coffee. Osric, do you drink coffee? You don't drink coffee either.
No, I don't drink coffee. I sometimes drink.
This is pretty bad.
We
need to rename this podcast. Can't be called Coffee with Curtis.
Well, the coffee is with Curtis. We're as long as the coffee is.
Oh, right. The coffee is with him. It's.
We're waking up
Chris,
with Chris.
Creatine with Chris. And OJ with Osric. There you go. There's all the alliteration you need for a podcast title.
I was going to introduce you as the hair god of the scene. By the way, since the day I've met you, you've been known to always pop up with impeccable style, but also the hair of a god.
Chris does have really nice hair.
You.
I'm mad jealous.
I literally woke up like this. I woke up 15 minutes ago.
I'll give you a story from the Philippines when we were filming. So at the beginning, it was me or Drea and me, Chris, were sleeping in cots in that order. And Chris kind of what do you call it? Like the caterpillar?
What?
I know we called Chris like sleeping like a vampire because he doesn't move. He's just like so still. He's just like this. I don't know why he does that. Or sometimes he'll like curl up in a ball and only his head will pop out of the blankets. But in the morning, like Drea will wake up and she's all like groggy and she looks like shit. And I wake up, my hair's everywhere. And then Chris will sit up and he looks like he's ready for a photo shoot. We're like, are you serious? I remember Drea like actually getting so angry at Chris one day because he woke up and he looked like he was just like so perfect, ready to go. It was one of her bad.
I used to wake up early before any of them, and because I love early mornings, and I'm a real early riser, as you can tell. And so I used to wake up early and just do my hair and then go back to sleep without them knowing.
So for those of you guys that are watching, that's the secret. That's the secret.
Bro, I slept like that because I've been conditioned. Anytime you sleep around friends or you go on camp, you got to be on alert. You know, you can't make yourself a target. If you sleep all funny, people are going to do things to you and they take photos and they draw on you. And it's like, it's a rough world out there sleeping next to or near friends or peers. So you just got to make yourself the most unassuming, there's nothing about me that makes you want to do like leave him alone. He's sleeping. I wasn't even sleeping, bro. I was awake the whole time.
I think that's years of being conditioned with Australian friends. I've never had that worry for my slumber parties.
Who are you, dude?
Haven't you ever been to like school camp or something?
Yeah, everyone's very respectful. Like nothing happens.
You're from Canada.
I remember seeing people like drawing on someone's face like in movies and TV. I'm like, wow, I can't believe people would do that.
No, Chris, I hear you, man. The first time, I remember like in grade 8, the first time I had a sleepover with my white friends. Yeah, let's just say it was my last sleepover. I saw some things that till this day, I shall not talk about.
How many penises did you see?
I plead the fifth, man. I plead the fifth.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, so last time I saw you guys was it was like in April at the Mulan premiere.
That was in February.
Was it in February? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was in February.
It felt like it was April, but I guess it's February. So it's been like five months and a bit.
Yeah.
Half a year. Jesus. How have you guys been? What's new?
I just got back to Canada. So I've been in LA this entire time. I've been quarantining with my roommate Drea, who directed Empty by Design. And we've been focusing mostly on writing. And that's been really good. I just came back to Canada because I'm starting a restaurant with some friends here. And it was about time I saw my family again. So I'm currently self-isolating for 2 weeks, and I'll be in this room for that time. I put on a shirt for you, but apart from that, I'm pretty much going to be in underwear for 2 weeks.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. So Drea's in your house as well, or
in LA? No, she's still in LA.
Okay. So I actually wanted to ask you about your restaurant. So where were you guys at before COVID hit?
we were at another location, a much larger location, a much more ambitious location, but we lucked out. Like right before we signed the lease, COVID hit, and so we weren't like withholding to this place because it was going to be such like I love that building, but it was going to be such a massive investment. And in this time, it didn't make sense anymore with a pandemic.
Holy, yeah.
With the new location, it opens it up with a couple of possibilities in terms of like patio space, just outdoor environment that was easier to keep safe. And so with this, we're moving forward and we're just signing the lease now and everything's just getting smoothed out and then we're going to go in there and start building. So.
Good for you, dude. Because from what I read, I thought you guys had already signed the lease. You guys built up the place. For context for the people, so you're starting. You teamed up with a really dope chef in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
You're aiming to open up the first Michelin star vegan restaurant.
Well, with the new spot, we kind of have to change. Like we have concepts for every location. Instead of doing it the other way around, we want to find a good location first, and then we put the concept in. So this is kind of. We're still building it out as we're feeling out the place, but with the other spot, that's what we're looking at. And yeah, the chef, I just happened to go to high school with him. We had so many sleepovers where we didn't draw on each other's faces. We thought it was good to go into business together. So really excited about that.
So you haven't seen his wee-wee?
and no, he never showed me his penis. So that's a good sign too for a business relationship.
Okay. Hey, I couldn't have said it any better myself, bro.
Hey, this is an important question. How are you gonna do the video for this? Are we on screen when we're not talking? Am I on screen when I'm not talking?
I can make you not as of now.
Damn it. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked.
What were you looking?
I thought I could hide, man. I thought like if I wasn't on screen, I could be like doing things.
Oh, I got you. We're on speaker view. Don't worry. I'll fix it in post.
Yeah, Chris, how's your?
No, I wasn't doing anything bad. I was waiting to ask the question before doing bad things.
Oh, Chris, you haven't answered yet. What have you been doing since the Mulan premiere?
Which was in February. Jeez.
Let's see. Yep, that's about it.
Well, as we can see from his body, Chris has put on muscle. Like,
what are you talking about? I always look like this.
An astounding amount of muscle. The last time I seen him look that good, and he looks better now, was in Manila when we were on the best schedule of our lives. So he's done amazing.
Wow.
What are you talking about, bro? In Manila, we were on the worst schedule. I've never slept that little ever in my life.
It was so good. We were basically in camp. We ate at the same time every day. We went and exercised every day.
Did you not hear me? I didn't sleep, bro. I didn't sleep because of fear that I'd be drawn on.
All right, fair enough.
I woke up early to do my hair every morning.
He did look good. It was working out for him, though.
So you could key up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
We barely slept. That was tough. That was one of the most rewarding experiences, but also one of the most tiring experiences that I've ever been through. But we learned a lot. It was nice.
Yeah, that we did.
I don't know. What have I done since February? Let's see. I attended and joined the end of season 4 and season 5 of Apex Legends. Discovered a new character called Loba. She was fun to use.
Nice.
Aesthetically appealing. And watched some movies. I think I went out of the house a couple times. Yeah.
Where are you right now? Can we disclose this location?
Yeah, I'm in my living room. I'm in Hawaii right now.
Dumb bitch.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like the numbers, the COVID numbers are really low here. It seems really safe.
Oh, I'm in Hawaii
It
too.
was Oz. Weird.
Oh man.
Where are you in Hawaii?
I think this is Waikiki.
Oh, you're just down there.
Yeah, but I still got to self-isolate for 2 weeks.
I'm also in self-isolation, so I get out on Saturday.
Nice.
Oh,
I'll come wave outside your window.
Nice.
You know, Remy and Ronnie actually did that to me when I was isolating in Sydney.
my God.
It was so sad. And then the security from my building that I was isolated actually went across, like they saw them waving at me and I was shouting at him. I was like, help me, help. I stuck my arm out the window. Yeah, and then the security went and made them move.
What?
It was like they were, I don't know, they thought that they were executing some plan to help me escape or something. I don't know. That was in Sydney. Meanwhile, in Melbourne, we have an outbreak of corona again. The numbers are flared up because during a self-isolation or a mandatory isolation like what I was in, that situation, the security guard had sex with one of the girls that was staying there. And that's how the outbreak started.
Oh my God.
Man, I should have isolated in Melbourne.
I know you tried.
Australia, man. You guys know how to turn up.
Dude, I would have had to sleep like that in my self-isolation in Melbourne. To the fear. It could be in here anytime.
Yeah. I read there were a few pretty bad cases from, was it Melbourne as well? Or was it Sydney for these sort of anti-Asian attacks? Did you guys read about those?
Yeah, I feel like that's it's worse in America.
Yeah, I think that's mostly an American thing. So I heard in Vancouver there was some of that sentiment going around, but
there were plenty of cases in Vancouver. Yeah. I mean, there's video of two elderly ladies just being.
Why is it so bad in Canada? You guys don't have a racist president.
We don't. Well, I know in Vancouver, the Asians, Southeast Asia, the minorities became the majority a couple years back. So I think there's definitely a sentiment of us taking over because we are literally taking over.
Literally.
There's that. I don't.
We're outbreeding everyone, but
well, and we do have our fair share of corruption. So I think the PM at one point, they did some legislation where they kind of opened the doors for foreign investment. So all of a sudden, all these mainland Chinese people came in and bought up a bunch of properties because of this new legislation. All of those PMs, the secretary, all those people, they went into the real estate. They quit politics, went into real estate, made millions.
Right.
And now it's impossible to raise a family in Vancouver if, even as young professionals, it's just impossible. It forced everyone out of the city, and there's a lot of properties that are just empty because these rich Chinese people bought up these properties and they don't even live there. So that I absolutely understand. I'm totally understand.
What are those properties just empty?
Yeah, because they just buy the most expensive apartment a couple years back that was purchased was $16 million, and someone bought it without even looking at it. Right, that's the kind of money they're buying these entire apartment buildings, and I think most of the time they are renting out, but there's a lot of empty units, and so they started levying taxes on these empty ghost houses to stop people from doing it. But the problem is they're so rich they'll just pay it.
I think that's mostly what's been inciting a lot of this, hatred towards Asians.
People buying apartments and not living in them.
Apartments, and so there's a lot of blame on Asians. Driving people out of the city. But it doesn't help when who was that kid? The son of this very, very, very wealthy man in Vancouver. He bought a $600,000 Bugatti, and so he made it front page on the paper, which really didn't help the racial relations. But he bought the car and he complained about the taxes that he had to pay in the car. So that I mean, things were already bad then, but then I feel like that was on the cusp of when people were really starting to become, more outspoken against Asians. And then COVID hit. So yeah, I mean,
Well, I think anytime you're in any kind of like unrest where people just aren't safe or secure in their jobs security and their housing security, like they're gonna want someone as a scapegoat. Like they have to let out their frustration somewhere. And if our government isn't doing their due diligence and taking care of people, yeah, they're gonna hate whoever. You look at every pandemic that's mostly been handled, well, not as badly as this one, but every pandemic, there's going to be a time where we don't know what to do and someone's going to blame something. And I think every pandemic, it's been linked to some populace. So like swine flu was, I think, the Hispanics. Ebola was African Americans. SARS was Hong Kong as well. So like we're just part of that, and it's really easy to find a scapegoat. But I think it ultimately comes down to the government for not putting us in a position where we're all suffering and needing someone to blame.
Right. But yeah, it doesn't help when Trump's calling it the Kung Flu, although that is a
yeah,
that is a good name for it.
It's like what Osric's saying. He's got to blame someone else. I mean, America has 4% of the population of the world, and they have roughly about 1/3 of the deaths of corona. Like, how does that statistic make sense? Yeah, you stuffed up somewhere, dude. Like, that's your fault. That's just straight up. You did something wrong.
Yeah. But it's funny times, man. I mean, obviously you can tell. I mean, look, the reality is these past 5 months have been tough for a lot of people, tougher for, some than others. But at the end of the day, a lot of people have been going through a lot of shit, a lot of self-reflection and a lot of people are really upset, like you guys said. I remember Chris, remember that guy that made a comment on one of my posts? Or you made a comment on my post, and then this guy, I think, attacked you, or you attacked him.
Nah, that doesn't sound like something I'd do.
Whose
Whose phone was that?
That was mine, my bad. Phone's off, guys.
Curtis, this is your show. Hey, just by the way, Curtis was almost late to his own show. They're like, hey, we're going at 9:30. It's 9:27. We're like, man, where's Curtis? Where's the Zoom link? How are we gonna start this thing? Curtis,
Meaning, you got to be early. My mom just brought me some food. I ignored her, and then Curtis, your phone rang, so now I'm gonna go apologize to my mom because I ignored her because she knocked on my door to bring me food.
Are you actually in your family home?
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Sorry.
You have a beach inside your family home?
I know. Well, when you're a billionaire.
Osric's balling like that? You didn't know that Osric took
Chris, you didn't know we made so much money on Empty by Design that I could afford a beach in my
Well, it
home.
was a huge hit, so
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I just bought my third $16 million apartment that I'm not going to live in.
Dang.
Nice. Way
Using
to live
that
up.
money, yeah. I know.
What you got there, Oz? Share with us. What
So
I'm so curious. You're vegan, so what do you snack on? What do you eat? What do you?
Well, right now my mom is just bringing me food, so it appears to be some kind of noodle with carrots.
This is your breakfast?
And veggies. It's my lunch. So my mom has been feeding me, so I'm at.
Osric, are you gonna eat during this? Because I'm gonna go get my breakfast if you're gonna do that.
Well, no, I was just bringing it in so that the dog doesn't take it.
Hang on, my mom is just knocking on the door. I feel bad. I'm gonna go get the stuff that she left for me because it might be getting cold.
In self-isolation, like I pretty much I'm stuck in this room, and my mom will there's like this metal basin, and she puts food in it, and then she'll knock on the door, and I'll go and get it, and then when I'm done, I put it back in the metal basin, and then she takes it And she doesn't really say much. She'll be like, lunch. Like, that's all she'll say. So it kind of feels like I'm in prison. I don't know why, but
You want to talk about feeling like you're in prison, dude? When I was in mandatory isolation in Sydney, it's one hotel room, yeah? So you get stuck in this one hotel room for 14 days. But I lucked out with my hotel room. I got the one at the end of the corridor. And because of the layout of this hotel, there was nowhere for this security to sit except for literally right outside my door. Like if I opened my door, he'd be right. I'd have to trip over him to get out of my door. I had a photo. I can't show you because I'm on the phone, but I got a photo of him through the peephole of my door door, and he's like right there, and he's there 24/7, so he can hear me through this door. All that's separating me and him is this thin door, and he's there 24/7. There's someone right outside my door. Do you know how that feels, man? Like you have no privacy. Anytime I'm on the phone, if I was doing this interview right now, they would be able to hear what I'm saying. And there was one time I went out and they're like, "Oh, you're the guy that's in there." Yeah. I was wondering who's on the phone and stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working. What do you guys listening to my calls? What the hell's going on? Why don't you have stuff like play some music or something? What do you?" And they would be listening. And there was one time, I was like, it's nighttime. Yeah, I'm like relaxing. This is my relaxing time. I'm sitting there. I don't know what I was doing, man. I was sitting there and I let one rip. It was a good one. It was like a proper, it was one of those that, if you had friends around, you'd be like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was exactly one of those. And then I forgot I was in isolation in a hotel room, and I farted, and the security guard laughed. That's how much he could hear everything I was doing. I was like, man. And it felt so uncomfortable that I had no privacy anytime. Like it was right. The door that he was sitting next to was right next to the shower and the toilet and stuff. So if I ever went to the toilet, he could absolutely hear me. If I ever had a shower, he could absolutely hear me. Like anything I did, he was there. And not only that, then I got check-ins every day. They'd call me every single day. The nurse would call me, which is her job. Great, I get it. Then the police would come and I had roll call. It was like they were checking to see if I had escaped my hotel room. And they'd come in, the police would check my name and everything. I actually felt like I was in jail.
Wow.
And it was this weird moment of I watched some movie the other day where the guy comes out of jail and, he steps out of jail for the first time. And I kind of know what that feels like now. Like if I ever had to play that in a role, it would be such a big deal to step outside the walls of that prison for the first time. I was trapped in my room. It was a hotel room for 14 days. And I almost couldn't step out. I was all scared and stuff. I'm like, what? I don't know if I'm ready. There's so much going on outside. There's all this commotion. I'm just used to isolation myself. This is so weird. It was like a big deal for me to just step out of that room for the first time in 14 days. And I almost wanted to hug the officer that was letting me out. She's like, "I can't hug you. You're just coming out of quarantine for corona, for a virus. Okay, a deadly virus. I don't want to hug you." She's like, "So many people try to hug me today. I'm not hugging anybody." What? Okay. I'm just really happy. It was so weird.
So how many stars did you rate them at the end of it?
Well, I would say that it was, honestly, it was, well, my experience was not as good as many people. People were getting put up at 5-star hotels and Shangri-La Hotel, Ibis Hotel in Sydney Harbour and stuff. And I just drew the worst hotel. It was student accommodation. It was just really crazy. It seemed more like a little office building, and it was just no frills. And then on top of that, I had the worst room because I had a security guard outside. And no one, if I had that room and I was down the other end, I could do whatever I wanted, be loud, play music or do whatever. I wouldn't have been as affected, but it was just very weird to know that you're being monitored every moment. There is you don't have privacy in any moment of your day. It just felt so weird. I'd be playing
conversation with the dude. He's there. He can hear you. You ever just talk to him
through the door?
I was thinking of starting a message chain with him. I was thinking of just writing notes and slipping him under the door and seeing if he'd ever reply. Or I was gonna write you try and bribe him. How much would it cost to let me out for a walk? those kind of things. I'd like leave chocolates for him and stuff, but I didn't get around to it. They didn't seem very friendly. Actually, there was one guy there was this younger guy. He was kind of friendly. I propped the door open. It felt so forbidden. It was like this forbidden friendship. And we were doing like real bad things because I'd prop the door open and I'd have chats with him. Like I was like standing back, I wasn't close. But then we'd talk about computer games and stuff, like just like, normal daily people conversations between friends. I know.
As bad as having sex with him. That's how COVID spreads.
I mean, that's where it was leading, really. I think that's why it felt so bad.
Was that the guy? Holy shit!
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Did you use security?
I don't know. No, I did my isolation in Sydney. So, Melbourne used a private security company to cut costs, and then they got an outbreak. But I'd prop the door open, and then we'd hear the lift coming up, and he'd be like, "Oh, close the door! Someone's coming!" And I'd close the door, and it was this forbidden relationship. It's very exciting.
Dude, that's your next movie right there.
Oh, Ronnie Cheng would love this. But the ABC, Australian TV, just did a show, really, really mind-blowingly original concept. I have no idea how the writers came up with this. It's about these group of friends. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but it's a group of friends who are stuck in a pandemic and can't leave their rooms. And so they interact on some sort of communicative platform that shares video and audio on a computer.
Oh,
so
like
all of them
Skype.
are on this screen together. Yeah, like Skype. Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. And they did this show, and my friend was just part of it. They filmed it during quarantine, and they actually like filmed it on Zoom.
Holy crap. Is it online? Can we watch it?
You can if you want.
Is it on Netflix yet?
But remember the tangent that brought us to this conversation, and you've been warned. But yeah, but Ronnie's in it actually. Ronnie's actually in it, and
he's actually in it.
It's really good. It's you should definitely watch it. Very good. Australian TV is the best.
I forgot Ronnie's Australian.
He's like Singaporean too, right? He's both.
Yeah. I had the privilege of watching him 2 years ago, and before he really blew up. And I mean, I gotta say, he's one of my favorite comics right now. Period. Oz, it must have been a trip coming home and not being able to hug your mom. I feel like because I've read your script, I've never met her, but I feel like I know her. So when you say that your mom's outside the door, I almost wanted to say hi.
Man, my mom. So when I came in, first thing that I went into the back, first thing my mom did was throw me a pack of wet wipes and told me to wipe myself down. And we like had a very silent drive because I don't know why. She just didn't really talk and wasn't responding. And
I thought you were going to say it was silent because then you had to get naked and wipe yourself down.
No, she wanted me to wipe my clothes down. And
I think that's very light. My parents wanted me to take all my clothes off, go immediately into the shower, and they wanted to burn my clothes. They wanted to throw my clothes away.
That's a little excessive, but that's what happened when I got into the house. First thing my dad says is strip down to your underwear.
Not a hello. Welcome.
No, nothing. Just strip down to your underwear and then like put it in the basin that they had, a metal basin, put all my clothes in there, and then they like washed it right away, and I had to go up straight to the shower, and I've been in here since. Yeah, they're fairly strict, paranoid people. So
how old are your parents? I've met your parents.
Yeah, they're in. I think my dad's 70 now. My mom's 69.
Damn. And you're what, youngest of three?
I'm the middle child.
Right.
Yeah.
Explains a lot.
Does it though? Or does it explain nothing? I don't know what that means.
I have no fucking idea what that means either.
Chris is the older child, and
that is always the neglected one, the one that doesn't exist and doesn't matter. You get hand-me-downs from the one above,
that
and
was
then you
by
get to the
choice.
next. You don't end up with
Are Are
That
You
is
chose to
are
be
you kind of
ignored.
emo as well, Osric?
You chose.
I was a little emo, but I took everyone's hand-me-downs. So I took hand-me-downs from my older brother and my
You
younger brother.
chose for your parents not to care about you. That's right. I forget. It's always the choice. The middle child always chooses that for some reason. They want to just be unnoticed.
Right.
Yeah.
But the
Man,
middle
that
child
does,
gets
it
to
explains a lot. That does explain a lot.
the middle child gets to kind of escape like the family sort of trap, though, right? And do,
Yeah, because no one remembers they're there.
right.
I mean, okay, there might be something there. Like Chris being the oldest child definitely explains a lot.
Wait, and now you're an actor, and everyone knows about you, and cares about, and you're like important.
Chris, you have the same life, except you're the oldest child. Chris is very nurturing. He's got a very strong maternal instinct, and I think that comes from him being a really good older brother.
Oh,
You got to talk to my bro about that. I don't think that's what he'd say. Oh, my bro was looking after me. This trip when I went back, he was my bro was like personal trainer. He was like
That's
telling me what to eat,
Yeah.
pushing me to train every day, and like taking me through all the. He was definitely looking after me this trip.
Hey, actually, my younger brother is the personal trainer too. Both our younger brothers are massive.
I'm curious. Do you guys still like? So, Chris, you're training. Do you still eat like 5-6 times a day? Is that
What do you mean still eat, bro? I never did this before.
You never did this?
See how skinny I was last time I saw you? I'd eat 2 times a day before. I'd eat lunch and dinner, and that was a lot for me because I don't like food. So that was a big deal. I'm like, oh man, I procure this food from somewhere, whether I cook it or buy it. And then if I buy it, I'm spending money. And if I cook it, I'm spending time. Like, this is such a headache and it's so annoying. Just can't be bothered. I have to eat this food as well. And then if I cook, then I have to clean up. I'm like, man, this whole process of food is just such a hassle. And I don't enjoy it. And so it was very difficult for me to eat. That's why I was so skinny. And now I'm eating more. I'm probably eating at least literally double of what I was eating before to put on this
To
weight.
put in perspective, before all of this, Chris was about my weight, maybe even lighter by like 5 pounds, and now he's 30 pounds heavier than me. And my weight has stayed the same. So.
You've always kind of maintained like a pretty good size though. You stay you're like permanently just yoked.
Who are you talking to?
Oz.
I have a big like when I was younger, like after high school, I worked out like crazy. So I feel like I have a strong foundation and my body knows what to do if I ever start it up. That being said, I've never had the discipline to do what Chris is doing now. And it's honestly super impressive.
What do you mean? You gym all the time. What are you talking about?
I don't gym. I've been climbing. Like I'll gym like once a month, maybe. Like I don't actually go to the gym and work out.
When we were in the Philippines, you were gymming all the time, and you were like really excited to go to the gym. Like, let's go.
I was following your workout because I had Chris telling me what to do, or Jackie. Like I don't do it myself. Like that's why like
man, that whole experience for you was just the biggest lie ever.
Yeah.
You got tricked into gymming because of false pretense. You thought I gymmed all the time and you were following my lifestyle.
Had no idea who Chris was because I thought this was Chris. Yeah.
You thought he was gymming all the time. I thought he was eating all the time.
I thought Chris was like the healthiest person ever because he was like so regimented. He's like, and this is like he had everything set out with like the meal plan, like he'd do meal prep, he'd work out all the time. And like when we were in the gym, he knew exactly what to do.
Oh.
Yeah,
like
I'm knowledgeable. I know the theory, but I don't follow it.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that till after.
What are you bulking up for, Chris?
Oh, secret role. I can't say.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
All right. As the industry is starting to open back up, I'm curious, like for you guys, do you guys have a new outlook or a new approach coming back into the biz?
You know what, the thing that I've readjusted the most on my view about America. I think that's the thing that's changed the most for me. I don't think anything about the industry has changed too much because we haven't really been doing anything. The whole industry's been shut down. Ours is one that relies on communication and interaction between different departments, people, crew, cast. You can't do film and television by yourself because it's such a creative medium. You have to have collaboration. And so we've been shut down from the get-go. The only people that are still doing anything is the writers, I guess, can write. But even then, they're feeling the distance because they can't interact with other people in a writer's room and that for TV. And so it's really only the people that work solo on scripts. They're doing okay. Everyone else is not working. And so I don't think I've really changed my view on our industry. But what I've definitely seen is a lot of surface that was kind of hidden or trying to be hidden. And now it's very, very obvious. The general view and the popular opinion, and that just my view on America.
I know what you mean.
I think that's changed a lot.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think it's changed a lot for the whole world because, you know, I saw some article yesterday that they're like, when Corona first started breaking out and becoming an issue, and it was an article about the top most prepared countries in the world for pandemic, and the US was the number one most prepared because they supposedly had all these plans like backup. You know, they had these programs in place for when these things would happen, what to do, their health system and all this stuff. They were listed. I'm pretty sure they were actually number one, or at least in the top 2 or 3. And that article did not age very well because it's very blatantly obvious to the whole world now. I mean, America's a joke right now. Everybody's laughing at America. I'm not just talking about the health system, but I'm talking about the general
for the first time in a long time
view of the population there. And yeah, I've just learned a lot about America during this pandemic.
Yeah. I was saying their PR is pretty bad right now for the first time in a long time, like on a big scale. Where
I think they're just, you have two sides fighting each other while the country continues to go to crap, right? Like there is no PR because they're saying everything instead of one unified message. So, you know, it's gonna keep getting worse, unfortunately, and I'm very relieved to be out of the country. And I think I have very much the same thoughts as Chris, is that my views on America has unfortunately become even more cynical, I guess.
Right.
But they're not doing themselves any favors. And I mean, you just look at the numbers. Like I was coming to British Columbia, the province here, just the numbers. We have like 500 active cases. And our daily rate in California is still like almost 10,000, or maybe I think it was like.
When I was back home in Australia, in Melbourne, and when that thing happened with the guy that slept with a girl in quarantine, this outbreak started. You know, they were like, oh, you know, another wave of corona's breaking out, and this is really serious. We had 100 cases overnight. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. We got 200 cases overnight. We shut down the whole city. Melbourne was locking down, going back into lockdown with 200 new cases. And at the same time that was happening, LA was opening up with 3,000 cases overnight.
Yeah.
In just LA. I'm talking like.
And this is one of the most progressive liberal states. And that's their attitude towards it. We had the same thing where we had 35 cases here. And they're like, oh my God, we might have to like put more regulations, like start cracking down on people for 35 new cases. The daily rate is still like, it's like 7,000 to 10,000 a day. Right. It's so crazy.
I was so surprised to see that even like, you know, I was living in West Hollywood, and you know that the area.
Where are you right now? Oh, you're in London right now, huh?
Yeah. the area that I was in, though, pretty liberal, right? But I was surprised to see that even within that, like even within my own building, dude, to see how entitled people were. No one was wearing masks. Everyone was just complaining 24/7 about having to wear these masks. And I remember being one of the first few people wearing one. And then everywhere I went in West Hollywood, I got these kind of like weird looks, and I was just, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And you're seeing how it's failing them miserably now. 4 or 5 months into this thing, they're finally saying, okay, you know what? You should definitely wear a mask. It took them 2 months to even talk about the mask. They're like, oh, you should probably wear a mask, possibly, but you don't have to.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's taken them that long? Who do you think's responsibility would it have been to tell the population of America to wear a mask?
Right, obviously.
And who did the exact opposite?
Right.
Well, I think there's just so much misinformation. Obviously, having a president like that goes a certain way, but we're at the point now where I think like most of the population has known someone that has died from this, if not seriously sick. So after a certain point, you just can't ignore it.
It's a hoax, bro. It's a hoax. It's just the first step for the government to control you. And the next step is injections with microchips so they can track you. 5G is going to burn your brain.
Go away. Like it's just going to disappear after a while. That's what happens.
Yeah, after the election, it'll just disappear. It's just a hoax, bro.
Yeah, Trump promised it was going to magically disappear, man. I'm so disappointed. I'm totally not going to vote for him.
We're in a good position, though, because we're not Americans. We don't have to live there.
Bro,
we're very fortunate. We can leave anytime.
Position of privilege. Yeah, I mean, none of us are there right now. Actually, Chris is there in Hawaii. Well, Hawaii is like this paradise of America right now.
I was ready because everyone's like, no, we don't want the lockdown. Everyone's American like, we don't want the lockdown. It's going to cause all this irreparable damage. And we want to think about the economy and that. Well, like, it's all fine to do that. There are ways that you can combat this pandemic without a lockdown. Like, look at Japan. Japan's a perfect example of how to do it, right? But the way that they beat it was through extremely effective contact tracing, which would involve the government knowing your whereabouts and contact information. Oh my gosh, no. So like, obviously that wouldn't have worked for America. And the second strongest thing that they did was they identified what they call cluster activities, or cluster, what cluster activities were, which were activities that involved a lot of people in close proximity that would be, loud, breathing on each other, or whatever. And they identified these activities, and then they limited them, and then they educated their people on how to avoid those situations so that everybody adhered to that. That would be impossible in America. Impossible. For that to happen, you need a population that would listen to science and listen to reasoning and all act together. You can't just have 20-30% of the people doing it, or like, even half the people is not enough. You need everybody doing it. And then they never shut down. Japan's like pretty much normal now, and that everything's open, and they never ever went into lockdown, and they're fine. And that's the difference. I read an article that a study done by the University of California, I think it was USC, and they did this, and the study was done by an Asian guy actually, but the study basically went out and tried to find a demographic of people that were wearing masks and not wearing masks, and also asked about their gender, their position. And then one of the interesting things that they found was that people of lower cognitive ability were more likely to not wear masks. So basically, dumb people don't wear masks.
You heard it here, folks. On
cool. No comments from anyone? All right, cool. I'm done. I'm finished talking. There's no comment from anybody. I'm here by myself. Yeah. Let me drink from my cup. Which, by the way, is I don't know what you thought it was about, but this is an advertising campaign promoting the Northern Territory in Australia.
Oh, what's
See you in the Northern Territory.
Oh, see you. It's hard.
Yeah, what do you think it was? There's a little see you in the Northern Territory.
I thought it was Continental United.
Nope. NTunofficial.com. That's the unofficial website of the Northern
We're just
Territory.
full of surprises, my man. Oz, why? So you just decided to shave your head.
Yeah, hair got in the way.
I saw you shaving the beard first, and then yeah, I saw this.
Yep, and then I got rid of the
How are you doing that? How are you doing that? You doing screen share?
I'm just doing screen share.
How do you do that?
It kind of reminded me of this, Oz. Remember these days?
Yeah, I think it's the same haircut, except I did it myself, so I'm kind of proud of it.
Wait a minute. If I share my screen,
you could,
and the screen is you guys, would it then just be like those mirrors where it just is like never ending?
Yeah, maybe.
Allow. Okay.
Share your desktop.
Okay, do it. Oh no, I don't want to show this.
Yeah. Twin sibling, one child
Got all of
policy.
his notes. We got all.
Oh no.
Here's your email.
Oh, nice.
Man.
Here's your DMs.
Show the...
What kind of porn?
Oh, okay. There. Now can you see yourself?
I can see myself. This is very...
Is it doing the mirror thing? Oh no, because there's no little version of you. This is a great experiment. Talking about people with low cognitive ability.
And then this is my version of that. You brought me back, man.
Oh yeah, from Dim Sum Funeral.
Oz, I think we got to tell them. We got to talk about this story real quick before we wrap things up.
Yeah, this is when I think we met during the audition for this, right?
That was the first time. Yeah, I laid eyes on you, and that was the beginning to like a decade long. How should we call it? A frienemyship.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you guys frenemies?
Well, no, that's where it started. So Dim Sum Funeral was, it was one of the few projects going on that needed Asian actors at the time. This was in 2006, 7?
7, yeah. I was brand new at this. That was like my...
Yeah, so I think both of us were fairly new, and there's this one character, the monk character that Curtis eventually got, that we were both vying for, and it was between me and him, and we both met with the director, and Curtis got it, and like for me,
so
there was
Curtis was better.
Curtis was better, and like for me, I definitely like saw Curtis. I was like, oh, he's that guy. He's the guy I need to look out for. Very very antagonistic. And then the next project I got.
Did you feel overshadowed?
But check this out. So I beat him out for this monk role, and then like 6 months later, it felt like, or maybe a year, there was a movie called 2012 that came to town, and there was a big monk role again. And I remember my team being like, "Oh, here it is! Like this is your thing. Like you already shot that movie. You spent all this time with a real life monk on that film. Like this is yours." And I go in and I see you again. And I'm like, oh, the final boss level before I get to the gold.
Were you like to your team? Yes, this is what I became an actor for, so I can play the same thing over and over again and explore.
At the time, there was nothing
role.
else, Chris.
Man,
at the time there was nothing else.
I was brand new, bro. They could pitch me on a bus ad, and I'd be like, I was built for this. I'll do anything. But then yeah, so I got that one, and then you got the big blockbuster. So it kind of worked out in the end.
But like,
did it though?
Anything like?
Do you feel good about that? Are you okay about it still? Because I've sensed
Chris, stop instigating
behind your words. I don't know.
already
You
had
said you're frenemies. You guys are frenemies.
that was in reference to the past. So anyways,
What are you
fast
now then? What are you
forward.
now? He said frenemies for over 10 years.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
been
then
way
what?
more than 10 years now.
It sounded current. It sounded very, very current.
Oz, this is why I wanted to bring you on here, man. I wrote something. I just want to say to you. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's the.
That's okay. Just make it up. You started now. Just improvise a little.
Dear Osric, when we first met, you looked at me funny, and I thought, gee, I'm gonna kill this guy. No, so wait. So rewind for a second. So after that, after 2012, you went off to China, and I remember being like, whew, sweet, more room for us. Get out the way. And you took like a really, really interesting career route that ended up working out in a pretty magical way. But I mean, can you speak on that at all? Really
I don't know. I was always one to take chances in life and in career, and I always wanted to follow the path that was most interesting to me. Like I didn't want to play the safe bet. I never wanted to do that. And so when these opportunities like, hey, you want to go to China? I just said yes, and I went. And it changed my life. And same with America. It's like, hey, you want to, spend all your money to go to this audition in LA. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of scary, but sure, I'll do it. And so I did it. And like all of these things just kind of paid off one after another. And, I can't really imagine living any other way. And it's been super scary, but, all of these things have been the best experiences of my life. The last one was, hey, should we fly to Manila with one-way flights and no money to try to make this movie? And at the time, it seemed insane, but we did it. And it was, by far one of the best experiences of my life, and everything leads to another. And of course, it comes back around, reconnecting with you again, seeing your success with Sirens and everything. And it just had me reflect on, how different all of our journeys are, and how, yes, we are in competition with each other, but at the same time, we're not, right? Like, and I think having that security of knowing that we all bring different things to the table, and now being on the other side of the camera, understanding that we just want the best person, and we might love someone because we think they're an incredible actor, but they just don't fit the role. Right. And I think that understanding really helped a lot for me as an actor. And of course, being able to be friends with all these people I audition with. Like right. Most of my friends now are actors that I, regularly audition against.
Right. It's just, I feel like it's just been so much more conducive to just a healthier sort of existence. You know what I mean? Like realizing that there is space for all of us, and that we're all incredibly different. Because of that, I can imagine if we still felt like that. Imagine every event that I see you guys at, and you guys are often at the events that I go to in LA, because it's usually the usual suspects, right? Because there's a really wicked community there where you guys all really support one another. But imagine, I mean, I don't even want to imagine what it would be like if we were still kind of like feeling a ways about each other, and kind of back, not backstabbing, but like, envious or insecure,
But like go back like 6 years, that feeling was very predominant in our community.
For everyone. Right? Yeah.
So I'm so proud to, and Crazy Rich Asians, like when that came out, that really did a number for our community. Like we kind of came together, and I don't know, like Chris, I don't know if you guys knew that or felt that going in, but I had no idea. I was hoping it was going to be a big movie. Like I cried in the theaters but it was specifically because I was seeing Chris on the big screen. And for me, I'm like, oh my God, like something's finally paying off for Chris, because I've seen him like struggle for so long. Right. But it was such a nice feeling to be able to like come together with everyone and just celebrate something, because for us, like this was something for our community, by our community, that the world appreciated. And it was such a nice moment.
Yeah, well said. I'm so happy, that we've all kind of outgrown that first sort of stage, but in a weird, even though we did it separately, in a weird way, we kind of came together and outgrew it together. You know what I mean? And now moving on into sort of this new chapter.
Yeah. Well, I think now we
I
understand.
don't really think it's weird. I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's just it's overdue, really.
Yeah.
You can't have a community that's divided like that
America.
And all flourish.
push forward. You can't. You just can't. You have to be united in the fight and realize that every individual win is a win for the community. That's the only real way to be. And I think that if to be successful, you have to be that way.
Right.
It's like how we're talking about combating the pandemic, the virus before. It's like you can't just fight it by yourself. It has to be a community effort, right? It's the same thing. So for a community to grow, yeah, we have to come together. And so whatever project it was that brought us together, whatever event it was, it needed to happen.
Right.
And I think now that it has happened and it feels like there's an opportunity for a united voice to emerge, I think we're starting to see leaders and people stand out as our sort of front men leading this fight for diversity and representation.
Right.
And it's just so overdue. I'm not really surprised. I think that Crazy Rich Asians was successful because people thirsted for that content. I know personally for me, having grown up and never seen myself represented on screen and never seen someone in my image be the hero outside of Asian cinema, I knew that I had a very, very strong hunger to see that representation realized, and it just never was. And so you ask whether we knew at the time when we were filming, and we didn't know. All we knew for sure was that every single person on there had that same longing in their heart, that we were fighting this silent fight together, and we never had to speak about it with one another because we just knew, we understood it.
Right.
And everybody was bringing their best work and were the highest level of commitment to their art and to their craft to bring the best possible collaboration forward. And that's what we did. And we just hoped that the world would embrace it.
Right.
And I think, like I said, it was just time. It was the right time for it.
Bro, I mean, I was like Osric. Like, I didn't know you too well when that movie came out. I'd met you a couple of times, but first time I watched it, man, I was rooting and hollering. You know, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And I'll show you what I was thirsting for. This right here, man. This right here, baby.
I like that you have these ready.
Look with it. Look at that guy.
Yeah, I think it's like we're finally at a place, because it used to feel like zero-sum game. There's one role, someone would get it. If it wasn't you, it's your enemy, right? And now we realize, like, if Chris does well, there are more roles that are going to be created because he's doing well, right? And that's the same with literally everyone. If we do well as community, there will be more roles created for our community and also by our community. And so this is in front of and behind the camera. And like now, not only do we know it, but we feel it. And so I think it's really easy for a community to come together now, and it is. I
have to say though, Chris, I mean, you know how you're saying it was overdue, but we have to champion each other. You know, there's that saying like a rising tide raises all ships sort of thing, right? But like when I first met you, I think the first time I met you was it was at the Freeform Upfront. I remember you came with Ron. Do you remember that event?
Yeah, of course I remember that event.
So
there was like some pretty good sushi there.
Great sushi. Yeah, we bonded over that. But it was in that instance that I met you though. That was really all I had to kind of base your whole vibe on. And it was just off of that one experience when I watched the film, I was just immensely proud. So I mean that I think there is something to be said though. Like you have always embodied that sort of energy and that vibe that welcomes, uh, you know, that support that we're talking about, right?
Well, I think
The energy you put
it's
out and the
also
same energy
owing
you get back. And so,
it's also owing to the fact that I came from a community that was missing that. So I think that's one of the things that I felt very strongly about Australia was that there wasn't, at least when I left, that there wasn't a community there that supported one another. It was very much segregated. It was very much against one another. There were people that would actively be bringing people down. It was just very selfish. It wasn't coherent. And so
are you
to
talking
come
about
to
the
LA,
community as a whole, or like an Asian community in Australia?
you know, kind of both. I think there's just not enough work in Australia, and the work is not progressive enough, and so everybody's fighting for it. Whereas in America, I felt the community was a lot more cohesive. It was nice. It was, you know, you could talk to people. You could actually be friends and hang out with people that you'd be going up in the same room for. Like you guys knew each other through sitting in the same waiting room for different auditions, right? And you'd see the same people over and over again. I felt that immediately through Leonard Wu.
Shout out to
I
Leonard.
just got to the States and I was just waiting. I was like one of 20 people, Asian guys sitting in this room, and it was one of those cattle call auditions, and I was just happy to be going out and doing something rather than sitting at home because I'd seen all my white friends just like smashing audition after audition. I'm just like, yes, I'm leaving the house. I'm not helping somebody run their lines for once. I'm actually going to do an audition. This is sick. And I'm sitting there and Leonard comes up and he's like, hey, you Chris? And I was like, how the hell does this guy know who I am? Like, I'm like, yeah. And I'm trying to think, I'm like, what would he even know me from? I hadn't done really anything at that point worthy of note, you know. And so I'm like, man, why does he know me? I feel like there's a story behind this. And the story was that he cared. That he cared about his community. He cared about his peers, and he paid attention to people. And I went out to lunch with him, and then at that point, we were both auditioning for this role on Marco Polo, right? There was, you know, that had a bunch of Asians in it, and then it was like, oh, I'm on hold for this role for Marco Polo, and then we might fly out. Then I'm like, wait, what? I'm on hold for a role of Marco Polo. Which role? And that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh man, we might be going up for the same thing. And here I am sitting at lunch with him. But it could have been, I mean, I exaggerated, I like dramatized it. It could have been that, but it never was, you know. It wasn't like a, oh fuck, we need to fight to the death right now because there can only be one. It was more like, I didn't, like, great. You know, if either of us gets it, it's going to be great. And then further in the conversation, we realized, oh, we're on hold for different roles. That's cool. Wouldn't it be great if we both went to Budapest to film, and 2 weeks later we were sitting at a cafe in Budapest filming together, and it was pretty cool. So I felt that community a lot. It was visible, the camaraderie between different artists, and that was very refreshing for me. And so I think coming from some place that just was void of that really made me appreciate it. And so I always wanted to help build that or be a part of that if it was possible.
Right. That's dope to hear because, I mean, you know, you talk about having the appreciation for it, but having the kind of wherewithal and actually putting it to action in terms of living it, reaching out to people and helping create that space. Because a lot of people, because I know people that that definitely don't do that. You know, that still.
Oh, we all know people that definitely don't do that and do the opposite.
Yeah. Because I mean, Osric and I, we came from a very similar type of landscape where there weren't a lot of Asian, us guys that look like us trying to do what we were trying to do. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of work in Vancouver, period, let alone work for, you know, us Asian guys. And so, I mean, we could have fallen victim to that, but, you know,
Yeah, but I think it's also a testament to your personality. You know, like certain people do act like that and they're very selfish about it, or they're more career orientated, and maybe that's more important to them than building friendship or building the community, or that larger issues and like representation only really are in their field of view when they are at a point of their career where they're successful enough to not care about the repercussions. And so you get people from the whole spectrum. It's different personalities, you know, and I think that the people that I respect the most are the people that want to help one another and that want to build that community and are fighting the selfless fight, even if it's at a detriment to them or they're not. You know, it's the strongest when it means something. Like when you're at the top, it's easy for you to. It's like when you're rich, it's easy for you to be a philanthropist and give money away, right? But if you're poor and you have no money and you're the one that's like donating to different causes you believe in, then it means more. So, you see the whole spectrum of personalities, and the ones that, like you said, there's the guys that are selfish. There's the guys that don't want to do that, and I don't respect that. I don't hang out with them. Those are the people that they're referred to as assholes.
How did you two meet?
We met at Asians on Film.
Because I love computer games, and there was a film festival and this little TV. Man, I think the TV was even old. I don't know, but there was this screen that was like had the most basic game you could ever. It was like this game looked like it was from the 70s. It looked like it was basically operated by mechanical swinging this like dot up and down, and I'm like, this is the most basic. What is going on here? Is this like some sort of retro revival thing? Is this some sort of weird experiment? And it was Osric's game. He developed this game that was like 16 years too late.
I still quite enjoy that game. My roommate made a game and he wanted to like test it out, and you know, and I asked the organizer of this film festival, I was like, hey, like, do you mind if we set the station? Yeah, Scott, and he was totally cool with it, so we did, and we just like let people play the game to kind of test it out, and so I mean, I enjoyed the game. So I was more than happy to.
So do you recall watching Chris like play this game and like seeing all of his reactions to it?
I don't, but I remember talking to him on the couch afterwards and him telling me that he just came to America and, you know, like just hearing a little bit about his story, and he won an award. You won Best Actor for, was it Citizen Ja?
Yeah, something like that.
So Chris had a couple of films in the festival. He won an award for it, and that was the first time we met.
Hey, you know, that makes you one of the first people that I ever met when I came to America.
Wow.
That's 2000.
Because that was 2000. That was in the end of January of start of February of 2013, and I moved to LA late January 2013.
Wow.
So that event happened straight, like it was like 2 or 3 weeks after I moved there, and I didn't know anybody aside from the people that I already knew from Australia. You would have been one of the very, very first people that I ever met in LA.
Whoa. I did not know that. Was Scott your first friend in America?
Well, I was introduced to him when I was in Australia because the award thing was happening.
Did he rep you?
Scott? He wasn't a rep back then. No.
Oh, okay.
No, he was. Yeah, he was organizing a film festival. He didn't do that back then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was just organizing a film festival, and so I rocked up, and I thought it was cool because I'd never been to a film festival. I'd actually I think I went to one event of one, but I'd never actually attended a film festival before. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to America. I'm going to see like a real film festival. It's cool.
Right.
And then I got to win an award. It was a nice introduction to LA.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
And I met Osric.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you're actually, Chris, you're one of the first guys that I actually chatted with when I first really kind of started spending more time in LA.
Really? When did you move to LA?
I had
Was it
just,
after Sirens, was it?
this was before the show came out, so we had just filmed it. But that was the first time that I started really making the transition to LA. And I remember I came out literally like, I think the night before that, something like that. And so, you know, you show up, you do the carpet and all that, you don't know anybody. And all your conversations are like 20 seconds long and it's kind of business related. And then I came in and then like I saw Ron, thank God. And I was like, Ron, finally someone I know. We're chatting. And then that's when I met you, come to think of it.
Bro, I was just trying to get some sushi.
Yeah, I know. That's where I went down at the sushi table. I was like, I'm going to use this sushi to talk to this guy. This is the icebreaker. I was like, what's up? You like sushi?
And then that's all we talked about.
Want to get a drink sometime? Want to be my friend?
No, let's just consume this free sushi. Don't you think things just taste better when they're free? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Why do you
It's
think
a good conversation.
I'm at
It's
every
really good sushi.
premiere and event that I can get my hands on? Drinks are way
Same.
too expensive in the States.
But they have free pour, and that is much better than in Australia.
True. I was watching, what show was I watching the other day? I think it was Kingdom. But, you know, in these shows, right, people are always drinking a couple drinks, a couple shots, and driving. And I'm like, if this is real life, knowing how much they pour in the States or in LA, this guy's not driving.
Kingdom.
Not the Korean
What shows are you guys watching? Hey, actually, what shows are you guys watching right now? I need a new show. What are you guys watching?
I'm just finishing up the Michael Jordan documentary, Last Dance.
Yeah.
Great doc.
Okay.
I'm watching Kingdom right now. It started off as a guilty pleasure. It's about this this MMA fighting gym.
That one.
Yeah. Based in Venice. It started off as a guilty pleasure, dude. Frank Grillo. But then the storytelling gets much better. I promise. My girl and I, we just watched the.
You skipped over that part very quickly. You were like, my girl and I, we watched this part. Like, are you ashamed of her? What's going on?
No.
Are you sure? Sounded like you were skipping over that part.
My girl
Sounded like you were trying to keep it. Yeah. It actually was a little bit like that. What's her name?
Huh?
What's her name?
Those who know.
Are you staying with her?
You know.
Are you staying with her?
Yeah, we're out here together.
Man, imagine being in her house right now and then, my phone's shutting down.
Yeah. Did we lose Chris?
I think we lost Chris. Perfect timing. Am I right?
Can we end it that way?
Well, actually, what I've been ending a lot of these episodes on has the three of us will do an act of kindness together. So I want to know, Oz, is there something that you and I can do, since Chris has just fucked off? Is there something that you and I can do right now that can sort of brighten someone's day out there, anywhere in the world?
Probably. What's an example of something you've done?
I don't know. Something we've done. We've reached out to random fans. We've sent money to charities. We've listed names of people that have impacted our lives on here. What else have we done? We've called people, say I love you, things like that. If we and I were together right now, I'd say let's just go buy someone a coffee, or let's just pick up the tab for that family over there at the restaurant or something like that. Or just, even a smile sometimes can go such a long way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we can't do that because we're on this damn virtual thing. But yeah, I don't know. You got any ideas?
Man, are we trying to do something different every time too?
Doesn't matter.
Oh man, see now I want to think of something creative, but you said all the ideas that I had. Okay, hold on. What else could we do? Mm, separately or together? Something together.
Let's do something together.
Mm,
Let's make history together right here, right now.
okay.
I've been, by the way, so I mean, we kind of went into a few different things and we were talking about the pandemic a bunch, but I have to say, I am really excited to have you on. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Um, you know, you and I have had a great history together, and I'm really very happy that we've crossed paths again, and that our friendship has grown in the direction that it has in the past couple of years. And I have to say that you really inspire the shit out of me, bro.
Hey, likewise, man. Like
Especially this last year, it's
I
been
would say, like, of all the people that I have forgotten, like, because you used to see the same people auditioning. You're like, you're the only one that has lasted, like, from that time. And it's and now I'm at a place where I'm like, man, like that is really sad, because like, you know, at the beginning I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, life gone the way, like they're out of it, and like I used to have that mentality, and I'm so happy that I'm out of it, and I'm just so thrilled to see, you know, someone that I used to audition with that has also made it. Like it makes me so happy to see you doing well, you know, and I wish there was more of us like from back then who was also doing that. But
I feel like there are, um, but at the same time, I think that is a common sort of symptom in our business, right? You ask anybody to list the names of the people that they used to audition with a decade ago. I'm sure a lot of people fall off. I mean, that's just the name of the game, right?
yeah.
But um, yeah, a bunch of my friends, they're still doing their thing. And Vancouver, I mean, you're there now, but the scene is it's just flourishing. It's only getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, back to this. This is what we call this dinging, by the way. Make someone's day.
Hmm.
You go ding.
All right. Okay. You know what? I recently started a Discord server, which is a game platform where people can just play games and talk to each other. But more than anything, I want to set up a place for people to just hang out. Right. Like I want to build a community, and that's what I really love fostering, is that sense of community, a place
Right.
for people to
Is
kind
this
of have.
sorry?
Hmm?
Is this your app that you started?
No, this is a Discord server, so
Oh,
it's very loose. Everyone can just hop on and off. It doesn't really matter. So the idea is just for people to hang out in a safe place, talk about games with or without me. Like really, I just want to kind of bring people together, and me bringing it together means they have at least one thing in common. And it's been pretty cool. So I will give a shout out to 3 people that stepped up to help moderate the thing, to, you know, keep it safe, keep it friendly, you know, just make sure there's nothing toxic that kind of bubbles through, as it often happens when you have a lot of people talking. But Mina, Charles, Rio, they have been so good, even though I have been so absent. They're keeping it going, and you know, they're just setting up like movie nights where people can watch movies together, especially because there's so many people in a quarantine right now. This just helps kind of like alleviate some of that stress and that isolation that you might be feeling. So shout
wicked.
out to them.
Is this how do you get onto this platform?
Discord is an app that you can have on your computer, on your phone. It's what I mean.
Is it a
It's kind of like,
subscription base?
no, it's like Slack but for games.
Okay.
Right. So Slack is for business. Again, it's just a bunch of channels. So we have like specific games, specific shows that you might be fans of, place where you can share your art, just a general chat if you're feeling, you know, lonely. Like, you know, I just wanted people to be able to connect and hang out. No, that's it. And we'll play games. Like there's like a whole Animal Crossing. Like the most used tab that I had for the longest time was about the turnips in Animal Crossing. So we talk about like, okay, whose prices. So you kind of set up your own ecosystem there. So that's been pretty cool. And I can only be so active, but again, I wanted a place where people could just hang out, do their thing, and make friends and connect while they're by themselves if they are.
I love it, dude. Honestly, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and just kind of witness what a 24 hours of Osric Chau's life looks like. Because I mean, you have
Right now it's in this room. I go to the bathroom a couple times a day. I'm in my underwear. I'm just like, what can I do? I have like a list of things like, all right, do writing at this time, watch a movie once a day at least.
right.
Like check my emails.
You're gonna say that, but you're gonna come out of this quarantine somehow with 2 movies under your belt already shot. You'll be in the editing process.
I mean, I like to keep, as many fires in the oven as I can go, or irons in the oven. And yeah, like hopefully something comes out of it. But like, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, right? Like if something has momentum, great. Right. I'm going to let that go. Like I'm going to work on it until I can't, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing. And it hopefully keep as many things going, because inevitably some things will fall through. Right. So I just have to do what I can when I can for whatever I can. And I'm constantly, encouraging people to write. And if there's something that makes sense for me to help them develop, I absolutely will. Or I'll just like maybe refer someone to someone else. Like I'm always trying to do things, because at some point something, I just keep putting it out there and eventually it'll come back around. Like that's my strategy.
I love it. I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing with this. Yeah. I kind of just on a whim about a week ago just said, you know what? I got some pretty cool friends all throughout the world. I mean, why not connect them, and why not create something where I can show them off and actually pick their brains and actually, I don't know. I feel like we're some way, somehow putting some sort of balance back into the world. I mean, there's so much negativity out there. And this is one way that I found that's been actually quite a lot of fun in terms of, combating that. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this, man. Like I said.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there. We have to find the fun in whatever we're doing, because that helps motivate us. And if we can find something that we enjoy, that in turn helps, something greater than us, the community, whatever it might be, like that's
full circle. That's for our, like when we were talking about acting earlier, same thing with our community. When we're all occupying this space, but we're all pitching away at a greater good. You know what I mean? That's something that's so much beyond us, right? Paving the way for the next generation or what have you. It can be a beautiful thing. And it's the same thing with this pandemic. It's the same thing with the state of the world right now. If you can leave us off with one last thing, what's the number one thing that the past 3-4 months has taught you that you feel like has been a major gem?
I've been so career focused for most of my life. I think these past months you hear this all the time, but it finally hit me where I'm like, I have to appreciate my loved ones, my family, my friends that, I cherish. Like I have to take the time to just like sit down and just appreciate that they've been here for me. Right. And to love them back. Like it's so hard for me sometimes to kind of like, okay, like mom, sorry, like can't talk. Like to finally take a moment to just appreciate her presence and the fact that we can still have a conversation, because they are getting older, and like the realization that they might not be for some time, it's kind of scary if I stop to think about it. So I think it's just to appreciate the things that you can while you can. And I've certainly had a lot of time to reflect on that during this time.
I love it. At some point, does that get reciprocated back? Because I know you have a very similar kind of relationship to your parents as mine, and I love my folks. But if I spend too much time, give them too much love, it gets a bit weird.
Well, here's something that you might want to do. So I ordered this thing called Storyworth. I mean, you don't need it, but essentially it just every week it prompts you with a bunch of questions. And I've been getting my brothers to do it since I haven't been here, but they'll just ask questions like of my mom and dad, and they'll just record it. And we started this Google Drive that we just keep uploading these videos of them answering. And of course, the first time, like everyone's like, why are we doing this? Like, this is so weird. My parents don't want to answer any questions. Just keep prodding them along. And it's just nice to kind of compile their thoughts and their, just their mannerisms, and just to see how they are. And even looking back at some of the earlier ones, it's only been like a month.
Right.
Like, it just, I don't know, it feels nice. And I'm so glad we have it, and this is something I wish I would have done with my grandpa or grandma before, they left. But, I'm glad we're doing this now with my parents while we still can. So I can, just.
That's awesome, dude.
Kind of like capture this part of their life.
Storyworth is called?
Yeah. But again, it's just prompts for questions to ask. Like, what kind of advice would you give your grandchildren when they're like adults? Or, like, it'll have a bunch of questions, but you can ask whatever you want. It's just something to do every week.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started, when I moved down to LA this year, my dad and I developed a really cool relationship where we talk via email.
Oh,
which sounds crazy, but like, we've both been so busy, and he's very, career driven. It's hard for us to actually sit and have a direct one-on-one, like heart to heart, or like a good father and son talk, without it veering off into business, or he's got to, go cook something, or another family member interjecting. And so I have this email thread with him, which is similar to Storyworth, but obviously different. But when I look back, it's like all, this entire chain of our conversations over the past 6 months, and we've opened up a lot, and we've shared a lot, and you can get a sense of his personality and his desires and his interests. It's very fascinating. So I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna definitely use that.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again for speaking with us today. Cheers to you, even though you didn't have a coffee.
I finished my water.
Be safe, man. Good luck with the rest of your quarantine, and I look forward to seeing you again, dude.
Yeah, when you're back in Vancouver, let me know.
Are you gonna be there for a while?
Hard to say, but probably.
Yeah. Like, I'm in no rush to get back to the States. So I'm probably coming home.
Yeah. So let me know. Yeah, we're starting a restaurant. It should open by November 1st was what we're hoping for. So we'll see.
Can't wait, man. I'm rooting for you.
Thanks.
All right, my man.
All right. Take care, Curtis.
Have a great day. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.